Hello everybody, this is Nidhi from Canopas and you are listening to Canopas Podcast, the show that wants to make developers' life a little bit easier by providing directive guidance. Welcome to episode 3. In this episode, we are going to compare Go and Nodejs. We will consider key areas like why to use Go language and why Nodejs, which is easy to learn, which is best for development, which one is better for programmers, which one provides high performance, what are the advantages of one over the other, and many more. Today we have Jimmy as our guest who has experience in mobile applications and web development on multiple platforms. Jimmy, you have worked with several trending technologies and frameworks. As you have worked with both Node.js and Go language, can you be brief about your personal experience of using the two? Which of them do you prefer for development?
Of course, I started my journey with Node.js for web development. Initially, things went well. However, as I have a background in using statically typed languages, I was always searching for something like that in web development, and Golang came to the rescue. Golang has syntax and features of modern languages while still allowing compilation to native binaries. Basically, Golang is a programming language where Node.js is a runtime environment for JavaScript. One thing I want to mention is that everything we discuss in this podcast is my own experience and it may vary for other developers depending on their prior background.
That's informative. Can you state some major reasons for choosing Golang?
Sure, I can count several reasons for choosing Go. The first one is Golang is simple. It comes equipped with just about everything you need, such as basic text library, synchronization primitives, templating, and more. The result is using fewer dependencies while coding in Golang. Forward compatibility is one feature of Golang applications that keep things simple. The concept ensures that new Go updates don't cause any broken gears in your programming. Golang is imperative in nature, which means a programmer gives step-by-step instruction to the machine on what actions a program needs to perform. The second is Golang is speedy. Go is a compiled language in contrast to interpreted language. Compiled languages are directly translated to the machine code before execution. This means faster and more efficient code. Golang static types and effective garbage collectors also make it a bit more speedy than other higher level programming languages. Even when compared to Java, one of the penultimate programming languages, Go is still faster on almost every benchmark. The third one is Go is flexible with all of the main OSs. Go applications are handy to run on Windows, Linux and Mac, and it can also run on any machine. Go supports multiple paradigms as it's functional, which means it supports closures. A programmer can change a program's behavior by providing code as closures. Go interfaces help developers set clear and comprehensible boundaries between components. In short, Go allows a developer to decide which paradigm to use. For small programs, the procedural approach may be the best, while for more complex systems, object-oriented programming becomes a must.
Such are notable reasons for going with Go. So, Jimmy, can you shed a light on when and why one should select Node.js for development?
Why not? Node.js is famous for its nature of building scalable and robust applications. However, there are multiple reasons for choosing Node.js. The first one is Node.js is lightweight. Typically, Node.js uses a basic event-driven architecture. That means everything executed on it, including every single operation and call, is a series of asynchronous callbacks. This allows Node to run on a single thread, unlike other web technologies where a new thread is spawned for every client request. This not only makes it lightweight, but also forms the foundation of Node's non-blocking I/O feature. The second is that Node.js is easily maintainable. It's flexible to implement backend and frontend in a single code. While some of the programming languages like Java, Go are mainly used for backend development only. Also, it has npm as its dependency manager. npm makes our life easier with just 2 or 3 commands for installing any library. The third is that Nodejs has a strong backend. Nodejs is written in C and C++, which makes it speedy and adds features like networking support. The fourth one is Nodejs has rapid development. Any new machine can easily serve a Node.js server within a minute.
That's a really useful explanation about why to go with Node.js. What we can conclude about the learning curve of both of them?
Well, the learning curve varies from experienced developers to beginners, as the efficiency of learning the technology entirely depends on the current expertise of a learner. I would like to compare it with learning a car drive. If you know driving a car already, you can easily fit to drive any of the cars. But in case of not knowing the driving, one needs to start from zero. Similarly, if you know JavaScript, then you can easily learn Node.js, while Golang needs to start from the scratch. Node.js does not have a steep learning curve, and in fact is very easy to adapt by JavaScript developers who know the basic of server-side fundamentals. The learning curve is short due to the relative simplicity of JavaScript. Besides, both newbies and experienced engineer can avoid learning traps if they start thinking in basic steps like understanding the structure and syntax, and gradually move towards concept and the ecosystem of runtime environment. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and this step is crucial for success. If you are a beginner and have basic knowledge of programming languages like C and C++ or Java, then you are good to go with learning Go, as you are already familiar with statically typed languages. Since Golang has a steep learning curve, it requires developers to learn its specific processes, concepts, rules like pointers, strict typing, interface, coroutines, and much more. Also, at the beginner level, if a developer is not familiar with JavaScript, learning Node.js will be a little more accessible than Golang because of the numerous Node.js courses and contents available on the internet.
It seems learning Go language is somewhat difficult compared to Node.js. What is the current state of developers availability for Golang and Node.js?
That's an important question. Since Node.js is based on JavaScript and many developers already know it, you can find developers quite easily. As Node.js is a heavily used programming language, it is much easier to find developers that possesses Node.js expertise. Because of this, it becomes easy to build a team of professionals for multiple development tasks. Go is comparatively a new and prospering language. In addition to this, Go is also touted as one of the most difficult application frameworks. However, Go has brighter scope in the future as it's growing tremendously. You will need more time and effort to find Go developers. Golang requires developers to learn with a steeper learning curve. That's why Go developers typically command higher salaries than Node.js developers, because there are fewer available on the market and learning it requires becoming fluent in a whole language. It's usually a greater professional investment for a developer to learn Go compared to Node.js, especially if JavaScript is already known. Hiring competent, especially senior Go developers, is relatively expensive, which can also extend recruitment cycles. The Stack Overflow 2021 developer survey puts the average international salary for Go developers at around 75k compared to around 55k for Node.js developers. As a general rule, Go developers are more difficult and more expensive to recruit than Node.js developers, and that really can swing the balance of favor toward Node.js unless there is a strong technical argument on why Go should be preferred.
That's an informative distinction between Go and Node. How do they differ in terms of learning resources and community to guide support?
Yes, when it comes to learning resources, Node.js is not losing the ground, as it's basically a JavaScript. JavaScript was developed in 1995, and while the Node.js runtime is much younger, it's still a part of this massive 26-year-old community that's full of beginner and experienced programmers. This support is particularly useful when troubleshooting or learning new frameworks, especially when it comes to more niche applications like machine learning, where it's still quite new. That support ends up becoming integral to your programming process. On the other hand, Golang's community is still small and new. It's definitely growing in popularity, but it has yet to reach its full potential, especially in data science and machine learning. While the community may not have the experience to help with troubleshooting, you do have the opportunity to learn together.
That's good. Which one of them is at top of the lines in terms of built-in libraries and other tools?
Nodejs comes up with a heap of ready-made solutions that simplifies the development process and cut the cost and time required. For example, NPM in the Node.js environment consists of around 800k building blocks that developers can install and run efficiently and effortlessly as per their requirements. Go, on the other side, has standard comprehensive library with features that act independently of any third party. Because of this, Go has less number of tools than Node.js, making the latter the answer of which is better, Node.js or Golang.
Node.js is having a bunch of ready-made libraries available for development compared to Go. Can you differentiate both of them in terms of performance?
While considering the performance, Go is conserving its position. Everyone wants a speedy app. The user wants speedy delivery, a developer wants fast performance, whereas an entrepreneur wants both. Golang does not require any interpreter and is directly assembled into machine code, hence renders a similar level of performance to Golang as low-level programming languages such as C++. When it comes to I/O operations, Golang is as good as Node.js. Node.js is marginally trailing Golang in terms of performance. The optimized and improved single-threaded Node.js enhances the efficiency. Also, the V8 JavaScript engine makes sure that the application runs without any assistance or requirement of an interpreter. Node.js is lagging a step behind Go, and that is due to JavaScript. The language on which Node.js platform relies upon takes more time for executing code than what is required in the case of Go. Also, Go has a lower uploading time and so is the response time. Besides, Go for backend development has also proved itself as a leader in terms of memory bound tasks and raw CPU performance.
Go provides really splendid performance. Nowadays, which companies are using Go and which uses Node.js?
As I stated earlier, choosing Go versus Node.js really depends on the requirements. Some of the popular companies like Google, Apple, Facebook, Twitter, BBC, IBM, Uber, Intel, and Docker are using Golang for the development, and while some of the other top line companies like NASA, Netflix, LinkedIn, Walmart, PayPal, and Medium are relying on Node.js.
That's quite informative. How handy are both of them with testing tools? Are there any built in libraries used for testing?
While testing is in the picture, there are a number of tools available to help make tests easier to write or more understandable to read. Node.js has some popular testing tools like Jest, Mocha, and assertion libraries like Chai. Using that, one can easily perform tests without messing things up. Go has a testing library available for the unit integration and end-to-end testing, along with an asset library. Many other frameworks are there for performing load testing in Go, and the most popular of them is Vegeta.
That's a really crystal clearing explanation. How do both of them compete in terms of scalability and concurrency?
As Node.js uses JavaScript, it directly inherits the scalability from JavaScript. JavaScript is usually done using event callbacks, which makes concurrency inefficient. As a result, the system gets messy very quickly. In addition, Node.js is a single-threaded, making instruction execution to be performed in sequence. That means the concurrency support in Node.js is as not agile as it should be. On the other hand, the Golang was created keeping scalability in mind. In a round of Go versus Node.js, Go is the champion in concurrency without any doubt. It is a strong side of Go as it is best suited for large software projects which require thousands of requests to be handled simultaneously. Go uses coroutines and also called Go routines and a lightweight threaded communication mechanism that allows developers to run their functions concurrently. In fact, due to the Go routines which can be executed with one another concurrently, the Golang is the best fit for scalability. Um, Go routines basically allow reliable and easy execution of threads which can be performed parallelly in a smooth manner. and that due to well supported concurrency in Go. While users can run their functions simultaneously using Go, this is sadly not the case with Node.js. Node.js is a single threaded and makes use of event callback mechanism, hence taking a step behind Golang.
Well, what about error handling methods in Go and Node.js?
Error handling in Go language has a uniquely different approach. Golang demands explicit error checking with the lines of code that are written. But on the positive side, it does also ensure better consistency and flawless results. Basically, error is a value in Go language which you can return from any function like other values. Node.js offers better and clear error handling than Golang with a common throw catch handling technique. And the best part is that a lot of web developers are already familiar with the try catch technique.
Thanks for the explanation. Which one is best to develop a career in the current time?
That's an important question because when we learn something, we should have its scope in our mind. I'll answer Go is the best to build career in upcoming years. And what is the reason behind I'm saying Go? While Go is relatively hard to learn, it's mature, faster, and stable compared to Node.js. And Node.js is not a bad choice though, but again, it depends on the requirements.
Great. As every coin has two sides, nothing is perfect in the world. Golang and Node.js must have certain limitations. Can you highlight some of them?
Yes, both of them have several limitations or so called disadvantages. First, let's have a look at Node.js limitations. The first one is API instability. Perhaps the most frequently voiced complaints of developers that work in Node.js is the instability of its API, which is regularly updated with updates lacking backward compatibility, and that can lead to ongoing and often unexpected maintenance work to keep an application's code base compatible with API changes. The second is library support gaps. Node.js is based on JavaScript, means it suffers from the same library system deficiencies as the programming language. Several of the major NPM registries and libraries Node.js relies on are either incomplete or lack proper documentation. The incomplete library support is mainly an issue for less experienced developers who rely more on support. The third is not ideal for heavy CPU based computing. While its qualities as single thread and event driven are behind many of its strengths, they also mean Node.js can perform suboptimally for heavy CPU based computing tasks. The event loop can decelerate when large CPU driven tasks are introduced because Node.js has to utilize all its available CPU power to deal with them. In the latest version, Node.js worker threads module means multiple threads can now be executed simultaneously. However, while this improves the situation, it does not entirely resolve the issue of CPU bound computational challenges slowing down the event loop. The fourth one is asynchronous model. Node.js asynchronous model is a quality that is a major advantage in its scalability. However, it is also trickier to set up and maintain smoothly than linear blocking IO coding and often involves nested calls. The increased difficulty can increase development time and impact the smoothness of an app's performance. While we look over Go, the disadvantage vary from Node.js. The first one is it's still developing. Even though Go is a mature language, developers might find it difficult to make maximum use of the libraries. They might have to write the libraries themselves, and there aren't many books or online courses to help with while in doubt. The second is error handling is not perfect. Though error handling is not perfect in Go, the imperfectness of it could get you. Solutions are still being searched for, and the proposals have come up for error handling. The third is no GUI library. Go is great choice for single page applications, though Go has no GUI library, which means a lot of time and knowledge you will need to connect a library to your application instead of using native solutions like Python or Java.
So ultimately, both of them have their own reasons to opt and not opt for. Can you summarize them?
I'll say you need to do language selection by considering some criteria. Let's say if you want high performant and scalable applications, then no doubt go with Go. If you need real time data streaming, then go with Node.js as more libraries are available. If you can't afford a high lead time to hire developers, then opt for Nodejs. If you have strong security requirements, then you are good to go with Golang. If you want to use a single language for front-end and back-end development as well, then go with Node.js.
Thanks for listening to the Canopas Podcast. Make sure to check the show notes to discover our informative materials related to this podcast. If you have any questions or are interested in further discussions, please feel free to reach out on our Twitter handle Canopas Software.